For more on what the Fed does from here, I spoke to Bill Black. He's the Associate Professor of Economics and Law at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. And I asked about the decision to keep rates unchanged.
None of this makes all that much difference, in truth. There's no particular good reason to change interest rates in terms of either the global economy or the U.S. economy. If any changes, when they do eventually make them, are likely to be small, and the markets are not reacting adversely, quite the opposite, but they're treating it as no particularly great big deal, and I think that that's actually accurate.
Do you think that the Federal Reserve should have raised rates earlier this year when the stars appeared to be more aligned? And I'm speaking about the data that everybody's watching. The world seemed to be okay. The United States seemed to be creating jobs at a fairly good clip. And they could have raised rates. I mean, there was a window for that they could have done it and no one would have really said much.
Actually, I think I see the data differently, I think, than you. I've, throughout the last 2 years, seen substantial weakness in the global economy and a modest recovery in the United States, with the U.S. unable to, and virtually every other nation, unable to meet its inflation targets. So the normal move would be not to raise interest rates in these circumstances. In fact, they seem to have made it, tried to make it like a test of manhood, and I use that male phrase deliberately, for Janet Yellen. And I think actually she's to be encouraged, to be praised for not giving into that and looking at the numbers and saying, no, the economy has a number of potential significant downsides. No great inflation anywhere. In fact, excessively low inflation virtually everywhere. So why don't we just wait?
What you're saying is that if inflation is subdued, as it is right now, we could essentially have zero interest rates till the end of time, could we not? I mean, why ever raise rates if that's the case?
Well, if the economies stay that way, that would be a reason not to raise rates, but none of us believe that any of these things are going to happen in perpetuity. It isn't simply that inflation isn't a problem. Deflation is the problem in a number of places and the potential problem in a number of places. And we've just had the biggest sell-off by China of U.S. bonds, and the response was in several time periods, the 10-year U.S. bond interest rate went negative. So, you know, there's simply no felt buildup of inflationary pressures at all.
Perhaps the media may have made too much of a hubbub about the potential of raising rates. Am I off on that?
Oh, no, that's absolutely right. I mean, whether they had moved rates up 25 basis points or, you know, split the difference and done it 12.5 basis points or kept them stable is essentially the same policy. And that's what everyone is looking for. And of course, it's not just the Fed. The European Central Bank, the ECB, is following similar policies. Italy is pushing for similar policies. Japan is following broadly similar policies and such. And China would prefer, frankly, that the U.S. dollar, you know, go up a bit more. So it would particularly like a rate rise at this time. But again, no felt urgency on the part of Chinese business people.